Marcus Johnson pushed his shopping cart down the aisle of Green's grocery store on a busy Friday evening. His tall frame moved with ease as he checked items off his small list. After working all day as a security guard at the local mall, all he wanted was to get some food and go home. His small apartment was only a few blocks away. The store was crowded today. People rushed around, trying to finish their shopping before the weekend. Marcus was tired but patient. He moved slowly, letting others pass him. Music played softly over the speakers, mixing with the sounds of squeaky cartwheels and people talking. In the produce section, Marcus stopped to pick up some apples. As he checked their firmness, he noticed a woman with 2 small children a few feet away. She wore simple clothes and looked tired. Her hair was pulled back neatly, and she checked the price of every item before putting it in her cart. The little boy, about 5 years old, held onto the side of the cart. The girl, who seemed around 7, helped by holding open plastic bags for fruit. "Kevin, please stay close," the woman said to the boy. Her voice was kind but firm. "Zoe, thank you for helping Mommy." Marcus smiled to himself. The scene reminded him of shopping with his own mother when he was small. She had worked hard to raise him alone after his father left. The memory made his heart warm, but also a little sad. As he moved toward the dairy section, Marcus heard loud voices. He looked up and saw 2 men standing near the woman with children. The men were in their 20s, wearing baggy jeans and bright shirts. They stood too close to her cart, blocking her path. "Hey there, pretty lady," one man said with a smile that wasn't friendly. "Why you ignoring us? We just want to talk." The woman kept her eyes down. "Excuse me, please. I need to get by." The second man moved even closer. "Come on, don't be like that. A nice woman like you should smile more." The little girl, Zoe, moved behind her mother. The boy looked scared and confused. The mother tried to push her cart around them, but they shifted to block her again. "I said excuse me," she repeated, this time a little louder. Her hands gripped the cart handle tightly. The taller man laughed. "Maybe you should say please, and then give me your number." Other shoppers glanced over, but quickly looked away. An old woman with a small basket hurried past. A store worker stocking shelves nearby kept his head down. No one wanted to get involved. Marcus felt a knot in his stomach. He knew he should mind his own business. He was tired. He wanted to go home. But watching that mother trying to protect her children while these men bothered her made him think of his own mother. How many times had she faced similar situations with no one to help? Marcus put his shopping basket down on a nearby shelf. He stood straight, his full height of 6'3" now obvious. He took a deep breath and walked toward the scene. His heart beat faster, but his face remained calm. He didn't want trouble, but he couldn't just walk away. "Is there a problem here?" Marcus asked in a clear, steady voice as he approached the group. All heads turned toward him at once. The woman's eyes showed relief and hope. The men's faces showed surprise and annoyance. The children peeked out from behind their mother. Marcus didn't know what would happen next, but he knew he had to try to help. Some things were more important than staying out of trouble. The 2 men turned to face Marcus. The taller one, wearing a red cap, looked him up and down. The shorter one with a gold chain around his neck stepped back a little. "Mind your own business, man," said the taller one. His voice was loud, but Marcus noticed a hint of doubt in his eyes. Marcus stayed calm. He moved closer to the woman and her children. "These folks are trying to shop in peace. That's my business right now." The woman pulled her children closer to her. The little boy grabbed his mother's leg. The girl watched Marcus with wide eyes. "We were just being friendly," said the man with the gold chain. "No harm in that." Marcus shook his head. "Doesn't look friendly to me. Looks like you're bothering this family when they just want to finish their shopping." A few other shoppers stopped to watch now. An older man with gray hair stood at the end of the aisle. A teenage girl and her friend whispered to each other nearby. The store was quiet except for the soft music playing overhead. The taller man stepped toward Marcus. They were almost the same height, but Marcus was broader in the shoulders. "You don't know who you're messing with," the man said. Marcus didn't back down. "And you don't know who you're bothering. Now, why don't you two move along and let this family finish shopping?" The woman spoke up. "Please, I just need to get my groceries and take my kids home." Her voice was shaky but brave. The man with the gold chain looked around. More people were watching now. He nudged his friend. "Come on, Ray. Let's go. It's not worth it." Ray, the taller man, stared at Marcus for a long moment. His face was angry. "This isn't over," he said quietly. "Yes, it is," Marcus replied. He didn't raise his voice, but his words were firm. After a few tense seconds, Ray turned away. "Whatever. This place is boring anyway." The two men walked toward the front of the store, pushing past other shoppers. Marcus watched until they left through the main doors. Then he turned to the woman. "Are you and your children okay?" She nodded, her eyes showing relief. "Thank you. I don't know what I would have done if you hadn't come over." She put her hand out. "I'm Tanya Williams. These are my kids, Zoe and Kevin." "I'm Marcus Johnson," he said, shaking her hand. "Nice to meet you, though I wish it was under better circumstances." Little Kevin looked up at Marcus. "Are you a superhero?" he asked in a small voice. Marcus smiled. "No, buddy. Just someone who doesn't like bullies." Zoe was still holding her mother's hand tightly. "They were scary," she said. "Yes, they were," Marcus agreed. "But they're gone now." The other shoppers went back to their business. The moment of drama was over. Tanya adjusted her purse on her shoulder. "We should finish our shopping. Thank you again." Marcus nodded. "Do you mind if I walk with you for a bit, just to make sure those guys don't come back?" Tanya looked relieved at the offer. "I'd appreciate that. We don't have much left to get." As they pushed their carts side by side, Tanya told Marcus they had just moved to the area 3 weeks ago. "It's been hard starting over," she said quietly, making sure her children couldn't hear. "But we needed a fresh start." Marcus didn't ask for details. He could see the worry in her eyes. "Starting over takes courage," he said. "Looks like you have plenty of that." They reached the bread aisle. Kevin asked for his favorite kind, and Tanya checked the price. She put it back and chose a cheaper loaf instead. Marcus noticed but said nothing. He remembered his mother making similar choices many times. As they walked through the frozen food section, Marcus noticed Tanya checking her phone. She looked worried. "Everything okay?" he asked. Tanya sighed. "My car has been acting up. I'm hoping it starts when we leave. The last thing I need is car trouble right now." Marcus nodded. He understood money problems well. Last year, his own car had broken down, and he had to walk to work for 3 months while saving for repairs. "What kind of car do you have?" he asked. "An old blue Honda. It's seen better days, but it gets us where we need to go. Most of the time." She smiled weakly. They turned into the next aisle. Suddenly, Kevin pointed toward the front of the store. "Mom, those men are back. Look." Marcus and Tanya looked up. The two men from earlier were standing near the checkout area. They weren't doing anything wrong, just talking to each other, but they kept looking in Tanya's direction. "They're watching us," Zoe whispered, moving closer to her mother. Tanya's face showed fear. She gripped her cart tighter. "Maybe we should leave." "But we haven't gotten everything you need," Marcus said. "Don't let them scare you away." Tanya looked at her children, then at her half-filled cart. "You're right. We need these groceries." She took a deep breath. "Let's finish shopping." They continued through the store, but the mood had changed. Tanya rushed, grabbing items quickly without checking prices. The children stayed close. Marcus kept an eye on the front of the store, where the two men remained. "I'll walk you to your car when we're done," Marcus said. "Don't worry." They finished shopping and headed to checkout. The two men moved away from the front doors but stayed in the store. The shorter one with the gold chain whispered something to Ray, who laughed loudly. At the checkout, Tanya counted her money carefully. She removed a package of chicken when she realized she might not have enough. Marcus noticed, but said nothing. He knew the pride that came with taking care of your family, even when things were tight. After paying, they pushed their carts toward the exit. The automatic doors opened. Outside, the sky was getting dark. The parking lot lights had just turned on. "Where's your car?" Marcus asked. Tanya pointed to a faded blue Honda on the far side of the lot. "Over there." As they walked, Marcus heard footsteps behind them. He turned. Ray and his friend were following them, staying about 20 feet back. "Keep walking," Marcus told Tanya quietly. "Don't look back." When they reached her car, Tanya quickly unlocked it. "Get in, kids," she said, trying to keep her voice calm. Zoe and Kevin climbed into the backseat. Marcus helped put the grocery bags in the trunk. The two men stopped a few cars away, watching them. "Thank you for your help," Tanya said as she closed the trunk. "I don't know what I would have done without you today." "It's no problem," Marcus replied. "Will your car start okay?" Tanya bit her lip. "Let's hope so." She got into the driver's seat and put her key in the ignition. When she turned it, the engine made a clicking sound but didn't start. "No, no," she muttered, trying again. The same clicking sound. Her car wasn't starting. The two men moved closer now. Ray pointed and laughed. "Having some trouble," he called out. Marcus felt his heart beat faster. The situation was getting worse. Tanya looked trapped and scared. The children watched from the back seat, their faces pressed against the window. "Try again," Marcus said calmly. "Sometimes it just takes a few tries." Tanya turned the key again. Click, click, click. Nothing. Ray and his friend were only a few cars away now. The sun had almost set, and the parking lot was getting darker. Other shoppers were leaving, not paying attention to what was happening in their corner of the lot. Marcus knew he had to do something. Fast. Marcus looked at the approaching men, then back at Tanya and her children. He made a quick decision. "Pop the hood," he said to Tanya. "I'll take a look." Tanya pulled the lever, and the hood clicked open. Marcus lifted it and looked at the engine. He wasn't a mechanic, but he knew some basics from working on his own car. Ray and his friend stopped a few feet away. "Need some help?" Ray asked with a mocking smile. "Maybe the lady should come with us. We can give her a ride." Marcus ignored them and focused on the car. He checked the battery connections. They seemed tight. He looked at Tanya through the windshield. "Try it again." She turned the key. Click, click, click. Still nothing. Kevin started to cry in the backseat. Zoe put her arm around her little brother, but she looked scared too. "Looks like you're stuck," said the man with the gold chain. "Too bad." Marcus stood up straight and faced the two men. "Look, we don't want any trouble. Just leave us alone." Ray stepped closer. "What if we don't want to leave you alone? What are you going to do about it?" Just then, a police car drove slowly into the parking lot, its lights sweeping across the rows of cars. It wasn't coming for them, just patrolling, but Ray and his friend noticed it immediately. "Let's go," the shorter man said, pulling at Ray's arm. "Not worth it." Ray looked at the police car, then back at Marcus. "You got lucky this time." The two men walked away quickly, heading toward the back of the parking lot. Marcus waited until they were out of sight before turning back to Tanya. "Let me try something else." He leaned under the hood again. From his experience, he guessed it might be the starter. Sometimes, a tap in the right place could get it working again. He found a wrench in Tanya's trunk and gently tapped the starter motor. "Try it now," he called to Tanya. She turned the key. The engine made a different sound this time, then suddenly roared to life. "It worked," she cried. Marcus closed the hood with a smile. "It's just a temporary fix. You should get it checked soon." Tanya nodded. "I will." She looked at him through the open window. I don't know how to thank you. First those men, now the car. No need to thank me, Marcus said. I'm just glad you and the kids are okay. We just moved here, Tanya explained. I don't know many people yet. It's been hard starting over. Marcus understood. When he had first moved to this town 5 years ago, he had felt alone too. It gets easier, he said. This is actually a good community. Most people are nice. Like you, Zoe asked from the back seat. Marcus laughed. I try to be. Tanya reached into her purse and pulled out a pen and paper. She wrote something down and handed it to Marcus. My number, she said, in case you ever need anything. I mean, I don't have much to offer, but I make great sweet potato pie. Marcus took the paper. I might take you up on that. Sweet potato pie is my favorite. Mine too, Kevin shouted from the back seat, his tears now forgotten. They all laughed, the tension of the day breaking. Marcus felt good, not just because he had helped someone, but because he might have made new friends. Drive safe, he said, stepping back from the car. And get that starter checked when you can. Tanya nodded. Thank you again, Marcus, for everything. As she drove away, Marcus walked back to the store to get his own groceries. The police car was still in the parking lot, and there was no sign of Ray or his friend. The evening had turned out differently than he expected, but in a good way. Inside the store, the manager, Mr. Green, was waiting for him. I saw what happened earlier, the older man said. Both inside and out in the parking lot, Marcus stood still, unsure what Mr. Green wanted. The manager was an older white man with gray hair and glasses. He had owned the store for over 30 years. Everyone in the neighborhood knew him. Am I in trouble? Marcus asked. He wondered if the manager was upset about the scene in the store earlier. Mr. Green shook his head. No, son, just the opposite. He put his hand on Marcus's shoulder. What you did today took courage. Those two troublemakers have been bothering customers for weeks. No one has stood up to them before. Marcus relaxed a little. I couldn't just walk away. Most people do, Mr. Green said. His voice was sad but understanding. They mind their own business, even when someone needs help. That's the easy choice. Marcus thought about this. It was true. He had almost walked away himself. Anyway, Mr. Green continued. Your groceries are on the house today. That's not necessary, Marcus started to say. I know it's not, the manager cut in. But I want to. Consider it my way of saying thanks. He handed Marcus a paper bag. I already packed your items. Marcus was surprised but grateful. Money had been tight lately. Thank you, Mr. Green. That's very kind. The manager nodded. This neighborhood used to be different. People looked out for each other more. We need more of that these days. He pointed to the front window. Those two men who were causing trouble. They're bad news. They hang around the corner store down the block. Sell drugs, I think. Marcus felt a chill. Had he put himself in more danger than he realized? Be careful, Mr. Green warned. They might remember you. Marcus nodded. I'll keep that in mind. As Marcus walked home, the evening air felt cool on his face. His apartment was only a few blocks away. The streets were quiet. A few people sat on their porches, enjoying the night. Marcus waved at Mrs. Jackson, his elderly neighbor who was walking her small dog. She waved back with a smile. Marcus thought about Tanya and her children. He wondered about their story. Why had they moved here? What were they running from? He hoped they would be okay. When he reached his apartment building, Marcus checked his mailbox in the lobby. Bills, ads, and a letter from his mother in Georgia. He smiled. His mother wrote to him every month, even though they talked on the phone weekly. She believed handwritten letters were special. Inside his small one-bedroom apartment, Marcus put away his groceries and sat down at his kitchen table. He opened his mother's letter. Dear Marcus, it began. I hope this letter finds you well. Things are good here. The garden is growing nicely, and Mrs. Turner next door has been bringing me fresh tomatoes." As he read, Marcus felt comforted by his mother's words. She had raised him alone after his father died when Marcus was just 7. She had taught him to be strong, but also kind, to stand up for what was right. "I'm proud of the man you've become," the letter ended. "You have your father's strength and my heart. Never forget that." Marcus folded the letter and put it in the drawer with all the others she had sent. His mother's words felt especially meaningful tonight. His phone buzzed. A text message from a number he didn't recognize. "Hi Marcus, it's Tanya from the grocery store. Just wanted to let you know we got home safely. Thank you again for your help today." Marcus smiled and typed back, "Glad to hear it. How's the car running?" "It started making noise again a few blocks from home, but we made it. Going to look for a mechanic tomorrow." Marcus thought for a moment. His friend Darius was a good mechanic who sometimes did work on the side for cheaper than the shops. Maybe he could help Tanya. "I might know someone who could look at it for a fair price," he texted back. "Let me check, and I'll let you know." "That would be amazing. Thank you." Marcus put his phone down, feeling good. Sometimes one small action could lead to something important. He didn't know where this new friendship might go, but he was glad he had chosen to step up today instead of walking away. The next morning, Marcus woke up early. It was Saturday, and he didn't have to work at the mall. He made coffee and called his friend Darius. "Hey man," Darius answered, sounding sleepy. "Why you calling so early on a weekend?" Marcus looked at the clock. It was only 7:30 a.m. "Sorry about that. I need a favor." He told Darius about Tanya and her car problems. "Could you take a look at it? I think it's the starter, but I'm not sure." Darius yawned. "Yeah, I can do that. Bring it by the shop around noon. I'll be there catching up on some work anyway." "Thanks, brother. I owe you one." After hanging up, Marcus texted Tanya about Darius. She replied quickly, thanking him and saying she would be free after 11 a.m. "I'll pick you up," Marcus offered. "Don't want you to get stuck if your car breaks down on the way." At 11:15, Marcus pulled up to the address Tanya had sent him. It was a small apartment building on the east side of town. The area wasn't the best, but it was affordable. Marcus had lived in a similar place when he first came to town. Tanya and her children were waiting outside. Kevin ran to Marcus's car as soon as it stopped. "Mr. Marcus, you came," the boy said excitedly. Marcus smiled. "Of course I did. I said I would, didn't I?" Tanya looked tired but happy to see him. "Thank you for arranging this. I was worried about finding a good mechanic who wouldn't overcharge me." "Darius is fair," Marcus assured her, "and he's the best mechanic I know." They got into Marcus's car, with the children in the back seat. As they drove, Zoe asked Marcus questions about his job at the mall. "Do you catch bad guys?" she wanted to know. Marcus laughed. "Sometimes. Mostly I just make sure everyone is safe and following the rules." "Like a policeman?" Kevin asked. "Sort of, but not exactly," Marcus explained. "Security guards don't have the same powers as police." Tanya looked embarrassed. "Sorry about all the questions. They've been talking about you all morning. You made quite an impression." Marcus smiled. "No need to be sorry. They're good kids." They followed Tanya's car to Darius's small auto shop. It was located behind a gas station, with a sign that read D's Repairs. The blue Honda made a terrible grinding noise as Tanya parked it. Darius came out wiping his hands on a rag. He was shorter than Marcus, but had strong arms from years of working on cars. "That doesn't sound good," he said, nodding at Tanya's car. Introductions were made, and Darius got to work. The children watched with fascination as he checked under the hood and tested different parts. "How long have you had this car?" Darius asked Tanya. "About 3 years," she replied. "It was all I could afford after." She stopped, not finishing her sentence. Darius nodded, not pressing for details. "It's not just the starter. Your alternator is going bad too. Tanya's face fell. How much will that cost to fix? Darius named a price that was fair, but still more than Tanya could afford right now. She bit her lip and looked away. Marcus saw her worry. He understood what it was like to have car troubles and not enough money to fix them. Without reliable transportation, keeping a job was hard. And without a job, nothing else was possible. How about a payment plan? Marcus suggested to Darius. You fix it today, and Tanya can pay you over time. Darius scratched his head. I don't usually do that. But he looked at the kids playing nearby, then back at Tanya's worried face. Okay, we can work something out. Relief washed over Tanya's face. Thank you. I promise I'll pay every cent. While Darius worked on the car, Marcus took Tanya and the children to the diner next to the gas station for lunch. As they ate burgers and fries, Marcus learned more about Tanya's situation. We moved here to start over, she explained quietly while the children were distracted by their food. Their father wasn't a good man. It took me too long to leave. Marcus listened as Tanya spoke in a low voice. The children were coloring on the paper placemats the waitress had given them. Their father, James, has a bad temper, Tanya explained. At first, he was only mean with words. Then he started breaking things when he got angry. One night, she looked at her children to make sure they weren't listening. One night he pushed me against the wall. Zoe saw it happen. Marcus felt anger rise inside him, but he kept his face calm. He knew Tanya needed someone to listen, not someone else to be angry. After that, I knew we had to leave, she continued. I saved money for months without him knowing. Then one day while he was at work, we packed what we could fit in the car and drove away. That took courage, Marcus said quietly. Tanya shook her head. It took too long. I should have left sooner for the kids' sake. You left. That's what matters, Marcus said. Many people never do. Kevin looked up from his coloring. Are you talking about Daddy? He asked. Tanya put on a smile. Just grown-up stuff, honey. How's your hamburger? Good, Kevin said, going back to his food. Zoe watched Marcus with serious eyes. She was old enough to understand more than her brother. After lunch, they walked back to the auto shop. Darius was closing the hood of Tanya's car. All done, he said. I fixed the starter and put in a rebuilt alternator. Should run good now. Thank you, Tanya said. She and Darius worked out a payment plan. She would pay a small amount each week until the bill was paid. As they were about to leave, Marcus's phone rang. It was work. The mall was short-staffed, and they needed him to come in. I have to go to work, he told Tanya. Will you be okay? We'll be fine now that the car is fixed, she assured him. Thank you for everything. Marcus said goodbye to the children. Kevin gave him a high five, and Zoe surprised him with a quick hug. See you around, Marcus said. Later that evening, after his shift at the mall, Marcus stopped at Green's grocery to pick up a few items he had forgotten the day before. The store was quiet, with just a few shoppers. As Marcus looked for bread, he heard a familiar voice. Well, look who it is. He turned to see Ray standing at the end of the aisle. His friend with the gold chain was with him, along with a third man Marcus hadn't seen before. I told you this wasn't over, Ray said, moving closer. Marcus looked around. There were no other shoppers in the aisle. No sign of Mr. Green. I don't want trouble, Marcus said calmly. The third man laughed. Marcus pulled his phone from his pocket. He pretended to read a message. That's my boss, he lied. He's sending security guards from the mall to meet me here. They should arrive any minute. Ray laughed. You think we're stupid. Put that phone away. But Marcus saw a flash of doubt in the eyes of the man with the gold chain. Maybe his lie was working. He pushed on. Look, Marcus said, showing the blank screen to them. They're already outside. That's why I got the text. The third man glanced nervously toward the front of the store. Maybe we should do this another time. Ray. "He's lying," Ray snapped. "There's nobody coming." Just then, the store's front door opened with a chime. Everyone turned to look. It wasn't security guards from the mall. It was Officer Wilson, a police officer who regularly patrolled the neighborhood. He had stopped in for his usual coffee. The man with the gold chain nudged Ray. "Let's go." "Not worth it." Ray glared at Marcus. "This isn't over," he whispered. Then the three men walked away, pretending to shop as they moved toward the back of the store. Marcus let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. That was close. Too close. He needed to warn Tanya. He quickly paid for his bread and left the store. Once outside, he called Tanya. When she answered, he could hear the children laughing in the background. "Tanya, listen carefully," Marcus said. "Those men from the store yesterday, they know where you live. They said something about you being in their territory and needing to pay respect." Tanya was quiet for a moment. "What does that mean?" "I think they control the neighborhood where you're living. Maybe selling drugs or running some kind of protection racket." Marcus didn't want to scare her, but she needed to know the danger. "They just confronted me at the grocery store." "Oh my God," Tanya whispered. The children's laughter faded as she probably moved to another room. "What should I do? We can't move again so soon. I just signed a 6-month lease, and I don't have money for another deposit." Marcus thought quickly. "Lock your doors tonight. Don't answer for anyone you don't know. I'll come by in the morning, and we'll figure something out." After hanging up, Marcus walked to his car, looking over his shoulder the whole way. The three men were nowhere to be seen, but he felt watched. At home, Marcus couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about Tanya and her children. They had left one dangerous situation only to find themselves in another. It wasn't fair. By morning, Marcus had a plan. It wasn't perfect, but it was something. He drove to Tanya's apartment early, bringing breakfast from the diner for everyone. When he arrived, Tanya looked like she hadn't slept either. The children were still in their pajamas, watching cartoons. "I was so scared last night," Tanya admitted as they sat at her small kitchen table. "Every sound made me jump." "I think I have an idea," Marcus said. "My building has an empty apartment across from mine. The rent is about the same as you're paying here. It's not in Ray's neighborhood." Tanya shook her head. "I told you, I can't afford to move right now." "I know the landlord," Marcus continued. "Mrs. Jenkins is a good person. I explained your situation. Not everything, just that you needed a safer place. She said you could move in without a new deposit if you transfer the one from here." Tanya looked surprised. She would do that for a stranger. "She said any friend of mine is not a stranger to her," Marcus replied with a smile. "And she has grandchildren about the same age as Zoe and Kevin. She likes having kids in the building." Hope showed on Tanya's face for the first time since his call last night. "But what about my lease here?" "That's the hard part," Marcus admitted. "You might lose that money. But is it worth staying if you don't feel safe?" Tanya looked toward the living room, where her children played, unaware of the danger. "No," she said firmly. "Their safety is worth more than money." "Then it's settled," Marcus said. "Let's start packing today. Darius said he can bring his truck to help move your things." For the first time, Marcus saw real determination in Tanya's eyes. She wasn't just running away anymore. She was making a choice to protect her family. 2 weeks later, Marcus helped Tanya hang curtains in her new apartment. The place was small but clean and bright. Most importantly, it was safe. Mrs. Jenkins, the landlady, lived on the first floor and kept a close eye on everyone who entered the building. "That looks perfect," Tanya said as Marcus stepped down from the chair he had been standing on. "The whole place is finally coming together." The children were in their new room, arranging their toys and books. Their laughter drifted through the apartment. "How does it feel?" Marcus asked. Tanya smiled. "Like home. For the first time in a long time, it really feels like home." The move had been quick but successful. Darius had brought his truck, and 2 other friends of Marcus had come to help. Together, They had moved everything in just one day. Ray and his friends had driven by once, watching from their car, but they hadn't approached. There were too many people helping Tanya. "Have you heard anything from the old landlord?" Marcus asked. Tanya shook her head. "He kept my deposit, like we expected. But at least he didn't make me pay for the remaining months of the lease. I think he was glad to have the apartment back, so he could rent it again quickly." "That's good news," Marcus said. He picked up his toolbox, ready to leave. He had been helping Tanya with small repairs around the apartment whenever he had free time. "Wait," Tanya said. "I made that sweet potato pie I promised you. The kids and I hoped you would stay for dinner." Marcus smiled. He had been to dinner at Tanya's new place twice already. The children always asked when he was coming back. "I'd like that," he said. Over dinner, Zoe told Marcus about her new school. "My teacher is really nice," she said. "And I made 2 friends already." "That's great," Marcus replied. He turned to Kevin. "How about you, buddy?" Kevin grinned, showing a missing front tooth. "I lost my tooth today. And my new teacher has a pet turtle in the classroom." Everyone laughed at his excitement. After dinner, Marcus helped wash the dishes while the children watched a movie in the living room. "I have good news," Tanya said quietly as they worked. "I got a better job. The hospital near here hired me as a medical receptionist. Better pay and regular hours." "Tanya, that's wonderful." Marcus was truly happy for her. He knew she had been working 2 part-time jobs with irregular hours. "It feels like everything is finally changing for the better," she said. "And it all started because you stood up for us at that grocery store." Marcus shook his head. "You're the one who's making all these positive changes. I just helped a little." "You did more than help a little," Tanya said seriously. "You showed me that there are good men in this world. After James, I wasn't sure anymore." Later, as Marcus was getting ready to leave, Kevin ran up to him. "Are you coming to my soccer game on Saturday?" the boy asked hopefully. Marcus looked at Tanya, who nodded with a smile. "I wouldn't miss it," he told Kevin. At the door, Tanya touched Marcus's arm. "Thank you," she said, "not just for the move and the repairs, but for being there. For showing my kids what a good man looks like." Marcus felt warmth spread through his chest. His mother had always told him that standing up for others was important, that even one person could make a difference. He hadn't fully understood what she meant until now. As he walked to his own apartment just across the hall, Marcus thought about everything that had happened since that day at the grocery store. One small decision to help a stranger had changed not just Tanya's life, but his own too. His phone buzzed with a text from his mother. "Call me this weekend. Love you." Marcus smiled. He would have a lot to tell her. Inside his apartment, Marcus looked at the calendar on his wall. Kevin's soccer game was marked for Saturday. Next weekend, he was helping Darius with a car project. The weekend after that, Tanya and the kids were coming over for a movie night. His life had been mostly work and quiet evenings alone before. Now it was full of new friends and plans, all because he had made the choice to stand up instead of walk away. Sometimes the smallest actions could lead to the biggest changes. Marcus had always believed this, but now he knew it for sure.